Hello, everyone. I wanted to share with you some thoughts um, about Adam Arishon and who the Jewish people are, and in a bit different light than we're used to, and also connected to obviously the mission of the Jewish people. I always talk a lot about that, and obviously there are different facets on which to observe or understand our mission. But here, I want to start with the very beginning of creation when Adam separated from Eve. Adam and Chava got separated, and what happened? It says that because of the sin of Adam, he decided to separate himself from her for 130 years. And during those 130 years, both Adam and Eve created. Says Adam wasted seed unintentionally, and both due to as a consequence of their disconnection, of their separation, they created evil spirits, demons. There was a waste of energy, so to speak. We have to be very careful when we speak about those terms, spiritual terms like that, and when we speak about Adam and Chava, we are speaking about like very, very spiritual beings. So obviously, if you're a spiritual being, if you make mistakes, you're going to create spiritual damage. So we're speaking on a very lofty level. But let's try to understand anyway. So Adam and Eve were separated, and the Gemara actually in Eruvin, Yud Ches Amud Beis, says that it made a nidui. Adam Arishon created a nidui, used the lashon nidui, a disconnected separation, a penance, and because of his sin, and it lasted 130 years. And basically, the Arizal goes and says that during those 130 years, all the souls that were supposed to be elevated and were supposed to be born and elevated and supposed to be the generation of the future, and all the spirits that were created, all that needed now rectification, and those souls were reincarnated first in the Dor HaMabul, in the generation of the flood. And the generation of the flood, we know that those were souls that were extremely wild, in the sense they were doing Hamas, and they were committed many different sins, but essentially promiscuity. A lot has to do with sexual sins, and therefore Hashem decided to erase or to start from scratch, and those souls were not ready to be purified and rectified, and therefore they all died, and they were reincarnated then in the Dor HaFlaga, which is the generation of the Tower of Babel. And the generation of the Tower of Babel, it got a little bit better in the sense that we're all united. However, they were united against God, and therefore God again, so that they were not ready to be rectified, and God split didn't kill everyone, but he split all those people, and they got spread out throughout the world, and eventually died, and then they were reincarnated again in the time of Yaakov Avinu, and those are the souls that went down to Egypt, or were converted in Egypt. Different way to understand the Arizal, but basically, and there are also the people from Sodom connected to that. They are also called the souls Erev Rav, the mixture, which is a mixture of good and evil in them, and they need rectification. And we know Yaakov is the one that fixed Gilui Arayos, so therefore he's the one that deserves to have all the souls come in his generation to finally get fixed. And those are the Jews that were in Egypt. Now, if you think about it, it's fascinating. We're speaking about the Jews that were in Egypt and then finally came out. And who are those Jews? Those are the Jews, are the people that need a rectification from Adam Arishon's separation between Adam and Eve. Adam Arishon's separation from his wife. So, and they are called originally like evil spirit and demons and whatever the terms Erev Rav. Here we're speaking about the Jewish people. And therefore, I think it gives us a little bit a different understanding of who the Jewish people are to be. The Jewish people are the people coming from the consequence of a separation between a husband and wife. It's a disconnect, which means that we are the souls that are meant to reconnect husband and wife. We're the soul here to reconnect two parts of the whole. We're the souls here to bring back the harmony of relationships. It's not for no reason that we are in a generation today where husband and wife are now almost 3 or 4 marriages, or 4 or 5 get divorced. There were never that many divorces, and people who don't get married don't have to get divorced. So that's another story. There's no more connection and no more unity, no more love. Actually, it says that Rashi says from the Midrash that Hashem had to infuse into Adam Arishon, into man, now more tava, more love, desire for women, so that they will go back to women and want women. So we can experience today a little bit what's happening here. At the very beginning, whenever with the beginning corresponds always to the end, and then to the beginning. So we are at the end of time here, just before Moshiach comes. We have 222 years left, 222, and we are here to rectify the very, very beginning. And one of the main sin that Adam Arishon did, his main mistake was that he disconnected from God. Why was Adam Arishon disconnected from his wife? Why did he have a wife in the first place? The reason he had a wife in the first place is because Hashem said, this woman is part of you, is your female aspect of you, and she's gonna help you. Your feminine side, the feminine aspect of you, is here to help you have a relation with God. Ezer Kenegdo, she's a helper opposite you in order to help you connect to God. You, Adam and Eve, are one being, but different part of one being, and you need to understand how to connect to God. Sometimes you have to be male towards God, sometimes you have to be female towards God. God is neither male or female, has no gender. But he acts sometimes toward like a male, he's more of a giver. Sometimes he acts like a mother, like a female, like a receiver or giver of, he receives in order to give. So from that we learn that Adam's struggle was to have a real relation with God. The whole story of the relationship between Adam and Eve is the story of the relation between God and us and human beings. We as Jewish people, we came out from those 130 years, which Adam Arishon decided to separate in order to do tshuva, he was feeling bad, how can I continue? He felt guilty. The Jewish people always feel guilty, the Jewish guilt. And what this, again, comes to teach us today, because everything is about how to do it today, we have to understand that we, as Jews, we are responsible to for the relationship of humanity. Again, the same way there's husband and wife, the Jews are supposed to be the husband of the nations of the world, and we have to have a relationship with them, and we are supposed to be the wife of God, relation with Hashem. All those are very big concepts, but basically what it means is that we have to learn to fix our relationships. Our whole life is about relationship. 99% of songs that you hear on the radio is all about relationships, about love. So what's the mission of the Jews? The mission of the Jews is to stop the guilt, to stop the problems that is the essence of life, learning to gain desire again for our wives, and wives for our husband, and men towards God. We have to learn to fix our relationships. It's all about relationships. The whole world is busy fixing its relationship, but we feel guilty, and we separate, and we don't talk, and we don't fix it, and there's no teshuvah. And the same way we don't do that with ourselves, we are not going to be able to do it with God. So there's many concepts involved here. I think this is really what we need to focus on in the coming years. This is our generation, and we need, as we give birth to Moshiach, as we give birth to a new world that's going to come soon, a world of high level, we need to learn to have more desire again for God, desire again for our spouse. It's real work. We have to work on ourselves. Our entire focus, especially as Jewish people, is to show to the non-Jews how much we work in our own relationship. Imagine all the Jews had no divorce. Then all the non-Jews will come and see how is it possible that Jews have no divorce. But if we ourselves don't work on that, how can we be Or LaGoyim, a light to the nation? How can we be role models? So this should be our entire focus, is learning how relationship works, learning how to fix it, learning how to love more, learning how to desire God more. And if we do that, then we finally will be able, like the Jews in Egypt, to really do the final rectification. Now it's interesting if you think about what happened in the Jews of Egypt. How were the Jews saved? They were saved through the women who continued to be attractive to their husband and show support to their husband and love their husband and make the husband desire them. This also has to do with the fixing of the sexual desire. They used their mirrors to make themselves beautiful, and the mirror was used in the temple for men to serve God. In a way, it's me saying that it was the kinnor, the mirrors were used as the copper vessel that had the water, and everybody, the Kohanim, every day, and before they do their avodah, their service, they had to wash their hands. So it means that if we want to be able to serve God, we need to recreate that desire within our relationships first, and then we'll be able to serve God. Then you can be pure enough to serve God. It doesn't mean you have to wait till then, but you have to practice in the same time. You have to do it together. So this is our challenge, and should be our main focus, in my humble opinion, obviously. And if we're able to do that, then we will merit to be a generation that runs back, of a woman who runs back to her husband with tremendous love, with tremendous desire, and the husband, Hashem, who welcomes us, seeing how much we desire him again, how much we want to be with him again, stopping the guilt, standing for ourselves, is the feminist generation. It's a generation where women takes back power. Now you can be taken back, re-elevated, but yes, taken back to this former stage of you have to know how to be feminine for God. Why there's so much feminist movement? Why the women are reacting? Because the female beauty, the female aspect, the female power, the Wonder Woman generation have been missing. And we as men and women need to learn to be feminine for Hashem and stand up and be a real woman. Woman is gvura, strength in Kabbalah. So we have to stand up and fix, like all the women in every generation who saved us from Galus. We have to stand up and go to our husband and say, love me again. I love you. Because God, He's just waiting for that. He's just waiting for that relationship. But we have to feel a little bit the pain of God. Kavyachol obviously it's a metaphor. The pain of God that longing for that relationship so long, and is waiting for that relationship, and is in pain that we're not here. So let's take God's hand again as the wife of God, and let's become one again. And B'ezrat Hashem, if we do that, we stand up as a proud woman who loves her husband and desires her husband with her whole heart, then we'll be able to inspire all the nations to do the same and to follow us and serve God all together.